Hey Jimmy, what's up?
Meeting in my place this afternoon.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Who's gonna be there?
Whatever.
Alright, do you want me to bring something?
Hello, valued viewers. It's me, the professional amateur hour, coming to you with another review. This week, I checked out The Circuit 4, Faith Fighter, and this 2024 film was directed by Jalal Murhai and stars Billy Blanks, Al Sapienza, and David Yoon, among others, of course. So what is the story of this film? Well, I gotta tell you, I didn't watch the other Circuit movies. I didn't watch Circuit 1, Circuit 2, or Circuit 3, which I think is subtitled Street Monk or something like that. With this one, it's the Faith Fighter this time. And so he has the power of Jesus when he fights in the ring this time. And the story for this one follows this Taibo instructor, and then he finds out that there's this girl in one of his classes that has cancer, and so he vows to get the $70,000 to pay for her treatment because it is in America. And so he decides to join the circuit, even though I guess his brother died in it last time. I don't really know. I didn't watch the last movies, as I said. And then it's also like just like a throwaway line. Like nothing ever comes of it. Like he has no fear of the circuit or anything like that. And so he joins this circuit underground fighting league to win $70,000. Will he be able to do that? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. All right, so let's discuss this movie. Well, with this one, I'll talk about the elephant in the room first. And that is that this movie is so bad, it's wonderful to watch. It's just so amazing how things just kind of fit together in this one in the weirdest way. And even then, like, it doesn't fit together. There's so many bad things about it. The script is just ridiculous. And then on top of that, the editing with this script in particular is just so funny to watch. Like they'll say the most ridiculous line and then do a hard cut to something else. And I just had to crack up during it, and like just watching it's like, what is going on? Like what is happening with the editing and then the weird lines? It is just absolutely a whole mess. And I loved it for it. That was the best part of it, is that it's just a giant kind of shit show on screen. The main guy, the Taibo instructor, is kind of like a real Taibo instructor, I guess. And he's doing like these classes, and a lot of it is just like him being himself, and he like takes a knee all the time. And it's just so crazy that he's like taking a knee. Like if you want to do a drinking game during this one, have a drink every time he takes the knee. I think he does it like 7 times or something, so you won't get too smashed. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. And the things that this Taibo instructor just says, like it's just, oh my goodness, there's so many weird things. Maybe I'll put in some clips. I think that was possible. So here, check this out.
Mr. B.
And so just from those clips, you can probably understand it is a bad movie, but one that is glorious in its badness. In addition, this movie has a lot of fights in it. A large portion of this movie is just watching fights from the circuit. And I think they're actually kind of like interesting. They are silly, of course. They're just kind of like street fights or cage fights. Sometimes they're in the cage. Sometimes they're in like this underground tunnel bypass type of thing. And so it's supposed to be, you know, edgy and cool that way. And then the fights themselves are just seemingly like random people, like absolutely random. And the first fight you see has Brian in it, and Brian's spelled with an I. And then the second fight you see has Brian with a Y in it. And it's just like, why not change that name? Like why have 2 Brians in the first 2 fights that you see, right? And it's just so funny that way. And so all the fights are very entertaining, a very kind of high octane, I guess, though you have like 10 seconds to get into it. They even say that too. They're like, you got 10 seconds to place your bets or something like that. Here we go. And then you're into the fight. And there's a lot of fights too. There's like probably more than a dozen in this one. And so you just like are constantly watching these people fight. And it is, of course, you know, kind of corny, you know, action fighting. But at the same time, like that's entertainment. That's what I'm there for. I'm watching it. So I really did kind of enjoy that. And of course, there's more stuff too. Like, this story is just so random. Like, this Tai Bo instructor just finds out this person has cancer, and then he wants to, help her. And then she's like out of the story. Like, she has such a small interaction with the actual character. And so that's funny. And then he like goes home to his wife, and his wife is like, "Why are you doing this? Like, this makes no sense." And he's like, "I got to, for Jesus." And that's also another thing. Like, he goes to church and, prays to Jesus that he's going to win all these fights. And so he's got the power of Jesus when he fights. And what else? It's just so ridiculous. Like, there's so many things. And, one thing I did enjoy was that they made me feel valued when I watched it too. Like, I can't imagine too many people are watching the Circuit 4 Faith Fighter, but they do, like, throughout it show, the circuit, and they have a voiceover, and they're always saying like, "Welcome back, valued viewers." And I was just like, "Oh, fine, thank you. That's wonderful." And so they say that a few times, and it just, made me feel valued watching it, right? So that's also a positive. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, everything about it's terrible, as I said, and that's actually why I loved it. There are, of course, a few things on top of that that also make it bad. They have like the CGI moment, and just for a moment, like, the guy's looking in the mirror, and they like CGI a younger face on his face, and it just looks so bad. It's hilarious. And what else? The fights themselves, like, sometimes they're just in a tunnel, and you're just like, why do it there? And then, I don't know, it's really kind of funny how it's all put together and how just terrible everything is, but that's why I love it. It's really a big mess, but because it's edited so poorly and edited so weirdly, that you gotta love it. So it is really fun to watch. It's just, a terrible movie. As for a recommendation, well, certainly if you like bad movies, this is one to press play on. It is spectacularly bad in its own particular way. And so it's really just kind of like a train wreck that you can't look away from. And that is sometimes what you want and what you need and what I'm looking for. So yeah, press play on this one. As for a recommendation, well, I thought it was hilariously bad. I was laughing out loud with this one. And so I gotta give it the 3.4, which is probably actually higher than it deserves. If it was on a bad movie scale, I'd probably give it, a 6. It is above average in its own particularly bad way. And so, yeah, it is really kind of a fun watch, I found. And I thought I'd, share it with you. With that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.